If there's a day that I dreaded most throughout the whole year, it's Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is such a scary day. It like hangs as like the climax of like the haunted house of the Jewish calendar. Right? You get to Tammuz, and then you have the big fast day, and then there's the 9 days, and then Shavua Shachabo, and like growing up, my gosh, then you get to Tisha B'Av, and you sit on the floor, and everyone's hungry, and you hear stories about pogroms and Holocaust and destruction, and it was like the most dreaded day of the year. Tisha B'Av on its surface feels like a day that we just can't get through quick enough. We picture God as like the king that's disappointed and upset with his subjects, and he pours his wrath onto them. And the whole day feels so distant, so uneasy. You wait for Nachma where you get to like feel normal again. But is that what Tisha B'Av really is? The Medrash Pliya says, Lo hayu yom, listen to these words, Lo haya yom moed leYisrael. There was no holiday for the Jewish people, kiyom shenechrav beis hamikdash. There was no holiday for the Jewish people like the day in which the temple was destroyed. Can you believe that? Wait, Tisha B'Av is a holiday? How is that? I thought it's a scary day. I thought it's a fast that we're waiting for it to be over. How in the world could this be a holiday? I'll tell you a quick story. There's a father that I was in touch with a couple of years ago who had a very difficult time with his son. 9th grade, his son went to a high school, got involved with the wrong kids. Him and his father started to clash a couple of times and more, and really spent most of the kid's high school fighting with his dad. When he got to like junior year, he started to really do some really bad things, self-destructive addictions, etc., etc. And a couple of times he risked his life doing what he was doing. And his parents realized that it was really serious. And they tried to get him help, but it wasn't working. And after a whole bunch of consultations, realized that the only way we can really help our child is if we send them away to a certain center that's going to really help him. So they arranged for him to have a spot. Kid wasn't happy, felt being abandoned, felt like they were getting rid of him. And the day, his father's explained to me what it was like the day in which his son left. He said he was standing on his front stairs, said goodbye to his son. His son didn't respond back to him. His son got in the back of the car that they sent, and his father waved to him, and his son didn't wave back. Their eyes locked. And this car started pulling away. And the father said, listen, I haven't spoken to my son really in years. I live in the same house, but we never talk. We go weeks sometimes without speaking. And I was mad at him for so long. And the moment the car pulled away, my heart broke. My heart shattered. And the craziest thing happened. I longed for him. As the car turned the corner and was gone from my distance, I thought of everything that I did wrong. And those few weeks, they weren't allowed to be in contact with him. Those few weeks, if we ever got a message from him or an occasional phone call or someone was there that saw him, it was the highlight of our days. I could have gone weeks without speaking to him, but when he called once before a holiday, we ran to the phone. I spent all day thinking about this kid. Never happened before. You know, we think that Tisha B'Av, we think that the temple is the time in which we were with God, and then God kicked us out. And because he kicked us out, he loves us less. Now how it works. God didn't kick us out of the temple. We kicked ourselves out of the temple. God's presence was in the temple. We were the ones that kept on doing spiritually destructive behaviors. We were the ones that tore our people apart with baseless hatred. We were the ones that sinned. We had to leave so that we can be healthy, so that we can heal. When God saw us leave, his heart didn't become less for us, it became more. He longed for us more. There's a baskol, a heavenly voice that cries every day for the Jewish people. The moment of the destruction of the temple wasn't a moment where God crossed his arms and watched us suffer. It was the moment that the car turned the corner and our Father in heaven said, oh my gosh, I miss them. It's a moment of greater connection. We can't see it. It's not expressed, but it's hidden. The longing feeling is even stronger on the day in which we left. Tisha B'Av isn't a day to be scared. It's a day in which we have to recognize what we have to focus on. Tisha B'Av is a day of connection. Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable sometimes to not eat, but it's good sometimes to realize that if all I do is live my life to satisfy my stomach, then I'm not living my life. It's hard to sit on the floor, but if we realize that if all I'm doing is trying to get material pursuits, I'm missing. I was once in the home of my father. I once had a relationship with God that was real. And Tisha B'Av is the day where God looks at us and says, I want that back. I miss you. Lo hayu yomim tovim. Lo haya yom moed. There was no moed. Moed is a holiday of connection. There is no connection, Yisrael, for the Jewish people, like the day that he destroyed the temple, because that was the day where God's heart for us opened. That's why this day is specifically in the month of Av, which is Father. That's why when the temple was destroyed, the Kruvim that were usually face to face when we were good and back to back when we were bad, were hugging and embracing because God was saying goodbye. Don't let Tisha B'Av pass and wait for the clock so that we can eat. Tisha B'Av is an opportunity once a year when our Father is watching us, remembering when we left, when his heart is longing for us, to direct our hearts to long for him. Tisha B'Av is the time where a Jew can look up and say, I want to come home. I want to come home. If we have that feeling on Tisha B'Av, maybe, just maybe, on a day like Tisha B'Av, where God remembers us leaving, God can turn and say, okay, time to come home. Let's not make it a day of hidden connection. Let's make it a day of expressed joy. Let's make it the holiday that it's meant to be.